Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new video in programming the finite element method. Now, so far we have done almost all the things that a line can have, because so far the STR line, it has an ID, it has node 1, node 2, section, material, and release. And I think we are really approaching the position where we start our finite element method calculations, because so far everything we are doing is something called pre-processing, which is basically the definition of the model. Then later, there will be calculations and then post-processing. However, there is one very important component that everyone is missing, which is the loads. Because yes, I have for the line a section, material, release. I have for a node the coordinates and the support. But what I'm missing are the loads and the load combinations and the cases. So this is something I'm missing. So for the next future videos now, for the next bunch of videos, we will be talking specifically about loads. The loads that I am intending to have in the software are going to be nodal loads and trapezoidal loads. Trapezoidal loads are loads on bars that have a starting value and an ending value where the load is linear between those two things, kind of like a trapezoid. Also, a nodal load in the center of the line, or a point load in the center of the line. However, I cannot do any of those loads without having load cases and load combinations, or at least load cases for now. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about load cases and define those things as a precursor for defining loads. Once again, I want to mention that this is part of the finite element method series linked at the top right, and also part of its own programming series, which I will also be linking on the top right, because if you are only interested in the programming aspects, then you have your own playlist for that. And if you're interested in the full package, finite element theory plus programming, then there is another package. Now, before I start, I want to mention that the source code is available to my dear channel members. However, if you are not a channel member, then don't worry, because every single line of code that is in the code will be written in front of you. So if you write along with me, you would have the same code as me. Now, with that being said, and without further ado, let's dive into the video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, the way I'm going to treat loads is I'm not going to let the loads be a property of the line. This comes out of experience. I have tried a lot of tries where I did that and it failed miserably. I will follow the Autodesk Robot way of doing things, which has a load table where the loads are listed and the application objects are listed. So what I mean is, in the loads, I would have the applied on ID, and I would have the IDs of the object where the load is applied. But that's, of course, too early to talk about right now. I will talk about my vision, of course, when we reach the loads. But for now, let's dive into the load cases. The load cases are not really hard to program. I'm going to close this line and close the release and leave main and controller. I'm going to open me a new document here, and I'm going to save it and call it STRLoadCase. So now I have an STRLoadCase. This is a object, so I'm going to class dev it, and I'm going to class dev STRLoadCase and end the class dev. This is just a load case. So it has a name, it has a nature, and it has a ID. Now you could ignore the nature, to be honest, because we are not going to make automatic load combinations. By nature, I mean if it's dead or live or wind or earthquake. I'm not going to program this in our software today because I don't want to have the automatic combinations. I'm not going to make automatic combinations, so this is not part of the things that are required for my software today. So I will not apply that. However, the simplest things I need here for the load case is going to be, of course, the properties and end. And here for the properties, I need an ID and I need a name. That's it. I might expand this in the future, but for now, let's keep it simple, ID and name. Now, by the way, I like to build the software from the bottom up, meaning that personally, I already know all the properties that are needed in the future. Even in the STR line, I already know all the properties that I need. For example, I would need the stiffness matrix as a property and the transformation matrix as a property. But in my programming lectures, I don't like to write everything because it kind of breaks your immersion. We need to understand why we need things, when we need things, rather than just dishing out all those properties and then leaving them for 10 lectures untouched, only in the lecture 20 to start talking about it. So that's the reason where I start my objects very simple and then expand them. Similar to the line, we started with this and then we expanded here. There is even local coordinates I need to include, but that's for later. So this is my paradigm when I program things. I start from bottom up, meaning I start with a simple object and expand as I see fit. This might be something different from other people. Other people like to plan their objects fully. However, planning your objects fully and then programming them works if you are just programming for yourself. But if you want to give a video tutorial, then this might be counterintuitive because, I cannot just explain everything to the viewer right now because he's still learning. So, I don't know. If you don't like this approach, then I'm really sorry. This is the approach I will be sticking with for the rest of the video series. Let's do the functions here. So function, this is the constructor, object equals STRLoadCase, and I need to give the ID and the name. And of course here, I would tell the object to get the ID from the givens and to get the name from the given stuff. And of course, I'm going to report it. So function to string to report the object. And here, I'm going to simply make a report by saying what the name is and what the ID is. So let's copy from the release, or maybe the material is easier. Let's report from the material. Yeah, something like this. So I copied the reporting style and let's paste it when changing. So I will say load case here, and it has a name and an ID and the object name, object ID. So perfect. This is a load case. Now, since we have a load case, I need to go to the controller, or before the controller, I want to check if it works or not. So let's do a definition by hand. Let's just try a definition here and basically say here that, I don't know, load case 1 equals STRLoadCase, and I'm going to give it the ID myself because I don't have it in the controller. I'm going to call it dead and see what happens if I report it. So load case 1 dot to string. And let's see what happens if we do that. F5, and besides the report of the structure, you can see that the load case dead has been reported. So that's perfect. Now I need to apply it in the controller because I want the controller to deal with the load cases. Meaning here, I would need a new region and I will call it load case region. Here I would have a function. I repeat myself a little bit here. This is the same paradigm. Load case equals add STRLoadCase. Here I need to pass in the object, which is the controller, and I need to pass in the name. I don't need to pass in the ID because the controller is going to take care of the ID, which means I need an ID system for the load case, and I need a database for the load case. So STRLoadCases. Now this is just a naming convention I like to use. You can name the stuff however you see fit. For the load case here, let's see what we can do. I want, first of all, to increment the ID. So object.loadCase, no, it's called STRLoadCase ID. STRLoadCase ID equals object.STRLoadCase ID plus 1. So we're incrementing it. Now I'm going to extract from it the ID, object.STRLoadCase ID. And finally, I'm going to construct or build the load case. So my output load case is going to be the new. Oh, by the way, if you come from other programming languages, then usually how you declare a type is by saying new STRLoadCase and then pass in the stuff. But of course here, if you come from C#, then new is just the way of doing objects. But if you come from C++, then new is something different. Because in C++, when you declare new, you are declaring the variable on the heap, which means that you need to call in later delete. However, if you don't call in new in C++ and just say STRLoadCase, then you are declaring your object on the stack and will be deleted once you get out of the scope of the stack. But that's, of course, too technical for now. I'll just keep it simple here because we are in MATLAB. Okay, so fine. We have a function that is the load case, defines it, and that's it. I still haven't included any function that deletes the stuff from the databases, so I'll keep it simple for now. Now I have my load case. Oh, wait, I forgot. I need to add the load case to the list. So object.loadCases, STRLoadCases, equals the old one, object.STRLoadCases, and I'll add to it the load case. Fantastic. Now in the reporting system here, I must report the load cases. So I just print this, paste, and ask it here to report the load cases, and then report each individual load case by cycling through the load cases, extracting the load case, and then reporting the load case. Fantastic. You see, when you program in a certain structure, it becomes extremely easy to expand your software. But if you program haphazardly, then your software will fall short and you will have all the problems in the world in maintaining and increasing the complexity of the program. So I think we've done a great job. Now it's time to test it. So instead of defining, I think I deleted it, right? Did I delete it? Yeah, I deleted it. Okay, fine. Let's delete it, fine. Now, instead of defining it by hand, I want the controller to deal with the definition of those things. So here I'm going to say load case 1 equals the controller.addLoadCase. And we're going to call it dead load, DL for short. Then load case 2 is going to equal the controller.addLoadCase. Going to call it live load. And then load case 3 equals the controller.addLoadCase and wind load. Fantastic. So now if I run the software, it should in the reporting system show me all 3 load cases. So let's run and see if I did everything right. Oh, there is an error. Let's take a look. Unrecognized method or field, add load case. I think I called it add STRLoadCase. Let's take a look on it. Yep, that's it. Add STRLoadCase. So I mistyped it. Let's just improve it very quickly and F5 again. And this time it worked just fine and reported all the load cases with their respective IDs. Which means now we accomplished yet another thing, defining an object called LoadCase and basically reporting it, using the controller to define it and report it. So everything seems to be fine. We have reached yet another milestone. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I hope you enjoyed. And in the end, I want to give a load case sized shout out to my dear channel members in the contributor level and the helper level whose names are going to be shown on the screen. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart, as their support to the channel is priceless to me and enables me to provide you with videos hopefully on time and with a certain quality I try to achieve, and for that I am forever thankful. In the end, I hope that you enjoyed the video and you found it beneficial. If you have enjoyed the video, then please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and so on, especially subscribing because it helps increase the reach of my channel. As per usual, this is the Civil Engineering Essentials channel, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.